Good morning. This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Wednesday, January 15th. Looking at precipitation over the past 7 days, fairly wet across the higher terrain of the northern half of the Great Basin, stretching down into the higher terrain of central Utah as well. Bone dry across southern areas of Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip. On the right-hand side, you see the percent of normals, 0 to 10%. We see the dark red, above normal in the blue to purple shades. Looking at snowfall over the past 72 hours, quite a bit in those enhanced yellow areas, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow with some isolated pockets of over 18 inches of snowfall. Again, all in the northern half of the region, dry to the south. And on the right-hand side, snow cover on the map covering most of the area across the northern half of the Great Basin and some of the higher terrain further into southern Utah. So a lot of areas now under considerable snowfall, especially in the higher terrain where pile burning may be more advantageous. Satellite imagery is showing a new storm system now moving in on the heels of the old one, this one just off the Pacific Northwest coast, so bringing increasing clouds and storminess to the Great Basin as we go into the end of the week. 1,000-hour fuels quite moist, 16% or higher in most areas. Now for later this afternoon, there is the next storm system into northern California, Oregon, and Washington, starting to get into the western Great Basin, these areas in green with increasing clouds and moisture. Dispersion on the right-hand side, still fairly low across some areas later this afternoon due to some long-lasting inversions. Remember, the nights are still quite long, along with snow cover in many areas. But we will see the transport wind start increasing across western Nevada later today, as well as across the Snake River Plain and the higher terrain of Idaho. That'll help dispersion a little bit. Mixing heights in those areas also a couple of thousand feet above ground level. On Thursday, the storm system very slowly edges into the Great Basin. Still, most of the moisture in the western part of the Great Basin, but we'll have increasing clouds further south. You notice the areas in the white across the western Great Basin. That's where the best dispersion will be. Cloud cover and lingering inversions across areas to the north and east. You can see those strong transport winds on the left-hand side, areas in the brown gusting to over 50 miles per hour. Excellent vertical mixing in most areas as well, except for eastern Utah at this point. On Friday, that storm system moves out. Another one pushes into the Pacific Northwest. Some clouds across northwest Nevada, but weak high pressure trying to build in. You see the transport winds diminishing a bit on Friday. Pick out your area. Best transport winds will be further to the east. Best mixing heights also further to the east. The Utah Clearing Index shows dispersion improving. Poor dispersion today with those inversions and those purple shades. We see more of the orange and red colors as you go out towards Thursday and Friday. Precipitation, you can see some good amounts across the mountains of central Idaho and the Wasatch chain, as well as the Sierra front, where 1/2 inch to 1 inch of precipitation will fall. That'll be primarily in the form of snow of 6 to 12 inches. Lighter amounts where you see the other shades of green. And on Saturday, a wave of moisture passes across Idaho, perhaps some light precipitation, a bit drier further south. On Sunday, a pretty good ridge of high pressure briefly builds in. That'll cause air quality to decrease where you see areas in the purple through here. Best areas of dispersion will be further to the south where sunlight will mix things up. And the next storm system, a pretty vigorous one, pushes into the Great Basin on Monday. Lots of clouds and moisture, especially across Nevada and Idaho. And that'll push through Utah on Tuesday, and another weak wave pushes into western Nevada and western Idaho by Tuesday. So a very progressive storm pattern, but that should produce overall good dispersion. Precipitation from Saturday evening through Monday evening, not too much except for some light stuff up in Idaho, but a return to at least some light to moderate amounts of precipitation from Monday night through Wednesday night, where you see these enhanced green areas through here. The 8 to 14-day outlook shows a drier than normal signal across the southern and western portion of the Great Basin, near normal elsewhere. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.